Anybody else like the sound of impact sprinklers in the morning? Or am I the only one? Okay, I'm back. Staying along the themes of the video, another thing I like doing is going out into our fields, and especially the younger fields, and just see the progression and see, it's the best way. Like I've talked about before, in the greenhouses, the best way to keep track of your crop is hand watering. It takes most of the time, but you're engaged and you're looking pretty much about every one of those plants. When we have 23,000 plugs in the greenhouse, it takes a little bit, but you notice the signs and symptoms of problems. So anyways, there's a couple different schools of thought on when to start trimming small Christmas trees, and my school of thought is when they need trimming, trim them. The problem with small trees is they don't all mature or grow, or they're not cookie cutters, as we used to call them back at the tree farm and where I grew up. Shout out to that tree farm. So they're not cookie cutters, so that means they're not all the same, not made on a machine, so they all have different growth rates, genetics, blah blah blah, things like that. So this is the field that we did the demo of the different mowers, and I told you I'd be back in here, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm back in here. So let's go over a couple things, and I'll trim some plants. There's probably 2,000 trees in this field. I won't show you all 2,000 trees because probably half of them I won't even touch. The other half might, or another, I don't know, half of a half will need a snip here, snip there, or a bad spot, or whatever. Right now I'm basically just the ones that are going really crazy and have double leaders is what I'm looking for right now, and any sort of pest. This is the field that we planted 4 years ago, and over a weekend's time the deer came in and ate all 2,000 trees right down to a stem, and I just wanted to grab a gun and just sit in a tree and yeah, but I didn't. So what I did is I started experimenting with, and for those who watch the channel, you know I love to experiment. I've been experimenting for 50 years with different things, different techniques, trying to breed different things plant wise. So I just started with do a little research on the YouTube. Oh, this will work for your deer, this will work, oh, guaranteed, this, that, and the other thing. And you know what? Maybe it does work in that area. Maybe it does work in that area for a period of time. But for my specific problem, none of over-the-counter, I guess, remedies or whatever, witchcraft, or balloons and gun, or sound, audio problem, audio deterrence, sound deterrence, chemicals, blah blah blah. One thing that did work kind of okay is a certain kind of fungicide, but it just doesn't last. And my problem is not this time of year, but kind of February-ish, depending on the winter, when they have nothing else to eat. The snow melts down and all you see is this little green thing popping through the snow, and then you get what you call grazing. It's not, they're just trying to survive. I don't knock them for that, and yeah, send me the comments, they were there first, whatever. I'm just trying to make a living here, okay? I'm not destroying the planet. I am not destroying the deer population. I'm not doing any of that, okay? We're just trying to coexist. I will accept maybe 10% damage on my field of deer, okay? I'm not going to accept 100%. It's just not, I'm not accepting it. So let's get off of that. Anyways, so that fungicide worked okay. It worked good. It got me through that winter. But what I saw is a little browsing on the corner where the deer came out. So the following year, I did some more research, and I found this. It's basically what it is sheep's fat, but I won't say the name brand. I won't say the name brand because it's like wicked expensive. So, but I did, talking to other tree farmers, going to meetings and stuff like that, found that there is a place, and I'll share that if you want it in the comments, that sells tubs of sheep's fat. Um, but it's a lot. It's more than half cheaper. Yeah, it's way cheap, whatever that means. But the problem with it is you have to get it to a form where you can apply it to your trees, which means you're basically rendering fat in. Well, what I do is I spray in October, which I'm going to move that back to September because this year I did get some not browsing damage, but the bucks rubbing, and I need to eliminate that. So I got in the field a little bit too late, and I'll show you a couple that the bucks did rub. So I'm going to do it in September and probably around the holidays, and I'll play the weather. So what you need to do, and through my garage sailing, I found one of those. It's one of those burners that they make deep fried turkey in, and because I was using like a hibachi grill and would only warm up enough, and I have a paint sprayer and I have to upgrade that because it's a cordless paint sprayer. It works great, but it's not big enough. And one, it's too small. I can get down and back half a row, so I'm doing 2 rows at a time, coming back to the cauldron of warmed up fat and filling it back up and then going down and up. So I'm gonna probably break down and buy an airless 110 sprayer that can pull out of a 1 or 2 gallon can. And I don't think I can do more than that at a time because it'll start coagulating in the can when it's cooling down and I can't get it through the sprayer. But anyway, I think I'm going to invest in that. But that's the problem with the stuff I'm buying, is you have to warm it up to make it liquid again to spray it. I warm it up and I put a little Dawn dish soap in it, and I have some horticultural spray, so I'm kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone there. But once I'm done, get a pair of pants, that your painter pants or something that you're not going to want to wear or put in the wash or something, because you are going to smell like a meat plant or something, because it's got to stink, and that's what it's supposed to do. But the overspray gets on your legs and stuff. There's really no way around it. So, or have a Tyvek suit or some rain pants or something, but wear something like that. I'll do that in the winter. I'll show a whole video on how to do that. But that's what we've discovered that is pretty much foolproof for my area. We have a heavy deer pressure here. We go through hard winters here. If it works here, it should work anywhere. But anyways, so back to each plant needs little something different. So this one actually doesn't even have a top leader. I'm thinking what happened to this one is the dreaded fat bird. It had a leader like this. A fat bird jumps on the top. I'm gonna make some perches, I think, this winter, and get some perches out here. And the theory is that you have things in your field for birds to perch on. They won't perch on your growth, but the lush new growth on there, especially the top leader, and it bends it over, snaps it off. They do that a lot on the Norway spruce, but I can see it's happened here too. So this one, I want to give it a shape. It's got a nice new growth, and I want to do it before it sets bud. But I do see another. What you want to do is check the bottom. On the basil pruning, talking about the bottom, do what you want. I'll probably go through this and do that, but not this year. And it's to each his own. I've seen 100-year-old tree farms and they've never even done it, never even heard about it. But I've seen the newer farms that have the machines and stuff. So I guess if you have the machines, why not do it? But if you got to go down there by hand and do This is just one of our fields. There's 2,000. I can't imagine bending down 2,000 times to, but whatever you want to do. I don't do it. I'm gonna try it in a section like I always do, and go from there. But this tree to me, it needs a haircut. One, I don't want it setting bud out here, and then I got a misshapen tree because it's going buds off of here. So I'll cut it here. I'm not gonna worry about the leader right now. It looks like it's trying to do it, and I'll just let it happen. I am gonna check the bottom for 2 leaders. Looks good. But that would be a good basil pruning too, that just make sure it doesn't happen. So what I'm going to do with this is, I'm old school, so I have the shears out today. I've had these for not 50 years, but at least 20. The shininess is fluid film, big believer. And these I've had for 20 years too. These are Baco, and they're the real ones. The only thing I've ever had to do is these little cushion things. I had to buy different ones. And these are Felco 7s. And what's neat about these is this bottom piece rotates. So when you're cutting, it's turning with your fingers, which this was a gift. I thought it was ridiculous, but you use these once, you're not going to want to go back to the other ones. And I'll use this for any dual leaders because this stuff is small enough to cut with this. I have the machines, the nasty looking weed eater thingamajigs with the knives flying around. I got hedge trimmers, but I find this is the best way when trees are this size. And then I have this for the leaders and the bottom. And I can go through, if I wasn't running my mouth, I could go through this field in probably an hour and a half. Not just because, not every one of them needs it, just some of them need it. So what I'll do is a mental shape on this. I don't do the machete things. One, I'm not good enough. I just, man, I would have to wear my, I think I would have to wear my chainsaw chaps if I was doing this all day with a sharp blade. I'd be afraid to cut too much, so I'd be cutting out there, and I'm not doing the tree any service. But I don't have 10,000 trees to do either. So if I do 2,000 to 3,000 a year, that's a lot. So anyways, so I take a mental, in my AI head there of a triangle, and what we'll do is that, and then just nip the sides. Yes, and I do this a lot. I learned this on the tree farm. I learned it wrong, but I do a lot of cutting like this, and some people have told me it's backwards. You know what? You do you, and I'll do me, what works. And I'll try to get the weeds away from it. And that's how I'll leave this tree. We'll worry about this. This should start filling in. And we'll worry about that leader. We'll watch that bud there. So on to the next one. So right next door here is one of the ones we interplanted this year. Now, this guy did not look good for the longest time. See this right here? So make sure you give him a chance, boys and girls, because this thing was all orange, and now look at it. So this thing's only been in the ground 2 months. It was I think it was a P2 that we got from this newer supplier. I really want to do this, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm just gonna, and sometimes be careful of taking this off, but this is dead. There's no green whatsoever in there, and then it cleans up the tree. And it's a nice, you look at your tree, then you don't get a double leader here. But most of these I won't get anything, but I'll go through. So that's a nice one. That's what you want to see first year. Back to this older row, you really can't even tell what's going on here until you get this ragweed and stuff. And this one looked like heck too. This did not look good. It was all like this. Now look at it. But again, I'll do the weed out of there. I'll do that with the weeds too. And then so this one to me is turning into a shrub. So I really need to go around it before it sets bud. And then leave this guy. You know, it's not pretty right now. It's not pretty like that one. But next year it will be. So this is a good example of, it's got two different leaders. Now, just double check doesn't have two different trunks. It's good there. And some guys would leave that, but it's just going to continue to do that. You're going to have two leaders here, and just like that, at an angle. The one that's more in the center of the tree. So the color's great on these things. So look at this monster. You know, it's never been trimmed. You know, it's got stuff way out there. This one needs a hard trim. Careful not to get the leader, because he's on a Honda. Remember that commercial? I do. Bottom's fine. We don't want to take this whole thing out because that goes halfway down, but you do need to designate at an angle. And this thing is still actively growing. I wanted to get in here and touch up some weed control, but it is actively growing, as I can see. But you know, I just hope a bird doesn't sit on this and then snap it off. And this is typical buck damage right here. See, he scraped this all down to get his scrape line, and then he kills the tree from there up. But the bottom of the tree just went absolutely crazy this year. So what I'll do is, hopefully this isn't too big for my hand pruners, but again, there we go. And the other thing we have in this field, and this is why you keep, I didn't have it so much this year, but when they were smaller, this is why you keep your grass down. See this little guy? Snails. And they're little vampires. And I don't know what he's doing up here, because he went through the whole tree to get up here where there's absolutely no life. So, and he's still actively sucking on that thing. You little vampire. But I don't know what he was getting out of that part of the tree. So now we just need to bring this closer, and then one of these will take over. I'll probably leave two of these this year, but I'm going to cut it way back. And I'll leave these two little guys. Probably this one's going to take over, but see where I've cut, then they'll throw 3 buds there. They'll have a terminal bud and 2 side buds, and then we'll start filling this right out. I wish they were all like this guy. Here's another field inspection. This is why it's good. There's a Japanese beetle right there. I don't believe in the Japanese beetle traps, especially in your fields, because I think they just attract more Japanese beetles, tell you the truth. And I won't spray this or anything. you're gonna get some damage. Just you gotta watch it. So this is what I'm looking at, and I just want to, you know, taper it down. Some people do the bottoms, keep them tight, and that's more for I don't know, maintenance reasons maybe. But I don't. I just give it a nice angle, and so what I'll do is hold them backwards, I've been told, and then I'll just go down, look down like this. That one I only tipped off the bud. These just the ends. This one I'm going to take a little bit more. The old tree cam here. And then this one, I want to designate this one as the leader. And then I'm just, whoa, don't get the leader. Like that. See, some of them I took 4 inches off, some I just nipped it in the bud. And here I can see some remnants. Those are ants, dead ants, but I'm guaranteeing you there was aphids there. That's why the ants are there. They were farming the aphids. All right, so the rest of this row is a lot smaller. I'll stop there, but there is some up here. And that's the problem with fields like this. You're jumping around and hopefully, you know, you don't miss anything. But you can see that this was a freshly planted field. You can see the plow mark right there. It's what you want to see. These are going crazy. They're kind of in proportion, but you need to snip these side ones. The first whorl, I guess they call it. And that's it. Now see, if you were using shears or gas-powered trimmers or the machete, you know, you would have just cut them all about the same. So this one I can go in and trim this one a little bit more here and a little bit more hands-on stuff. So hopefully I've entertained you. You've started looking at, you know, life a little bit differently, even for younger people. As you're growing, you know, to appreciate what you have and what it takes to get there. So as always, thanks for stopping by and take care.